Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in again for another weekly update on news and information about DCS World. And of course, I'm your host, Prickly Hedgehog, and what a week it has been this week. Of course, the patch came out, 2.7, went live on Wednesday in the Northern Hemisphere here, our time, and fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. If you haven't been able to check out the clouds yet, or if you're still kicking around updating or whatever it is, if you haven't done that, you need to. You've probably seen images already. You've probably seen videos from various people on the internet, YouTube, what have you, promoting the clouds and the experiences. I cannot describe to you the experience in game, what it's done for me in terms of my own impression of the game right now. It is game-changing stuff. It really has created a whole new sim, a high degree of realism, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit more detail here, but hopefully you're looking at some images. But what a fantastic thing to have done to the game. I really have to applaud Ego Dynamics. Yes, there are some quirks, some things that need to be fixed, and then this was never going to be, a completely finished product because they were working on other things such as the dynamic weather. But what an introduction, and it has really revolutionized the whole visual effect of the game without destroying the way in which the game works in terms of FPS loss or anything like that. Generally speaking, I haven't really noticed a difference, and in some cases, such as on the Syria map, they've actually done some work with Ugra Media to improve the performance of that particular map. So generally speaking, I have nothing but praise and am completely blown away by just how fantastic it looks. And I think that is why we saw so many little winks and nods from Wags about the clouds in the game when he was throwing up those videos over the last month or so, because there's no question they were on a winner here, and I think they've knocked it out of the park in terms of just how fantastic the game looks right now. Forget about Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you were sitting on the fence and looking just for eye candy, well, you get both right now with this game. You get the combat environment, and you get some really pretty skies to fly around in, and some fantastic looking effects. And yeah, okay, it's not a global map, and it's limited to certain theaters, but that's the way it works, and we're not necessarily disappointed by that, because there's tons of things to do in this game, even without a full world environment to fly in. So let's unpack this newsletter. Oh, a little thanks to Juice there. Juice and I are working on some stuff with the Air Warfare group, as many of you are probably picking up on now. And that was Juice at the very beginning there, checking the serial number on my right wing there for the weapon. And we were doing some fun flying last night on the server and enjoying, of course, these new clouds. And I'll show you some more clips of some stuff that we were doing in just a little bit. But let's unpack this newsletter, starting, of course, with the notable improvements. Now, here we are, some mission editor stuff. Basically, you have the ability to place player and client aircraft in any suitable location now, which allows you to create better road bases and forward operating bases in a variety of terrain types. The new customizations with quadrangular areas allow mission editors or creators to craft corridors, boundaries, and other new trigger zones. And also there's a new barrage fire option for AAA, which is available, which will look pretty cool at night, I would imagine, with Tracer if it's available. And this may not mean much to the average player, certainly the average solo player, but for those of you that are creating missions or are working in multiplayer environments, or even those who create campaigns, this will probably make a lot more sense and be a big bonus to you. Now, in addition to that little feature in the mission editor, there's also a new 3D loadout visualizer, and all the weapons and stores have been renamed and structured to provide more granularity and detail, allowing you to preview loadouts and liveries and get a much better understanding of your aircraft's aircraft's mission configuration. So having that visual representation looks pretty cool, and I think that's going to be a nice little addition there for, again, those people that are making missions and campaigns and other bits and pieces. It's going to be really neat. All right, the weather system and the clouds. This is the big news, of course. Everyone's focused on this, and I know that you want to hear more about it. So what Eagle Dynamics have said is as follows. Now, the new clouds have been released. They're delighted with the encouraging feedback, so don't forget to put feedback in the comments below. Eagle Dynamics moderators and other people in the team do look at these comments, so that's why I always encourage positive and constructive feedback where where possible, because it's important that we give appropriate feedback to allow the game to grow in the direction that we feel it should, and help the developer fine tune the experiences that people have, especially if you have a different system or things that you've noticed and glitches and other things. Yes, the forums are important too, but sometimes it's hard to wade through so much stuff. So feel free to drop in a good comment below, or something that you've noticed, or whatever else it is that you want us to notice, so that we can fire it back at Eagle Dynamics and keep the conversation going, so to speak. Anyway, so they are aware that there are some major issues and substantial enhancements will be coming soon, so that's good news. Remember too, they are saying here that the priorities for the clouds includes the work on the wide range of sensors and weapons and how they interact with the new world and how AI behaves in varying conditions. So we're going to talk a little bit more about AI in just a second, but this is particularly relevant for close air combat line of sight behavior. And because remember, right now at this time the AI, I believe, can still see through the clouds. That apparently is going to change, and the clouds mark the start of a significant overhaul and upgrade to the entire weather system as we continue to create more realistic weather conditions. In other words, we're going to see more cool stuff, and I think what we're being led to believe here is that there's going to be a dynamic weather system. That's at least how I'm interpreting it. I don't know if it'll be truly dynamic in the sense that you may not have to do anything with it, but I'm getting the hint or the impression that that's what's going to happen, and obviously there will be some caveats to that and how they set that up, but again, exciting stuff and really, really neat, because it has, as I said before, changed the whole way in which this game functions and looks, and it's a cool thing. All right, moving on to World War II birds here and damage model fire effects. Now, I actually saw a little bit of this in game too, and I believe that the fire effects have, not to a complete degree yet, but they have improved fire effects in DCS World. But in regards to the damage model for World War II aircraft, it's been enhanced to more accurately consider projectile types and impact locations to subsequently portray the corresponding burning, smoldering, and blazing effects. This is just the beginning of the general damage and effects overhaul that is in the works, and we eagerly await your feedback. So again, and this is what I mean about these comments, if you are flying World War II birds right now and have had some experiences with them in the game under the new 2.7 system, let me know in the comments below, because again, Eagle Dynamics is eager to see how people are noticing that and interacting with that and what it looks like, etc., etc. So cool stuff. Now, AI, we've talked about this, and here we go again. So the engagement logic. The AI will now consider enemy ability and relative position to decide whether to engage or disengage. They've also considered functions for a lower level AI to make incorrect decisions. This is the start of our long journey to make AI behave more rationally and naturally. So we're going to have some dummy AI, if you like, and not just a more coarse scalability. We're going to see a little bit more realistic behavior from them within the constraints of AI, because it never is going to be perfect. I've been enjoying flying online with Juice and others and Chaps, and we've had a lot of fun just doing formation flying, which requires a lot of concentration, and you don't quite get the same effect with an AI buddy. It's very difficult to recreate that. So any improvements that they're going to make to this area is really important for immersion, but I think it's also a good stride towards the dynamic campaign, which Eagle Dynamics is working on as well, and I know a lot of people are looking forward to that. All right, The propeller technology, now we talked about this last week. This is the stuff that they've got going on, which is really, really cool. They have described it as their new and unique technology that calculates the location of every propeller blade and then regenerates the image to reflect the human eye's interpretation of the movement. That's some cool stuff. That's some real thought gone into one element of a aircraft that could easily be overlooked, and they've spent some time on this, and I think it's absolutely fantastic in terms of the realism, which we love. It's one of the things we love the most about Eagle Dynamics and the work that they do. Realism within the constraints of a simulation and a computer environment, and that kind of thought process and unraveling of that complexity or complex problem, and visually recreated in the game is a really good example of the kinds of work that Eagle Dynamics is doing that a lot of people take for granted. Now, the approach allows for smooth and realistic blade transitions from still to idle, through to taxiing and takeoff, as well as proper transparency from all viewing angles, aircraft speeds, power settings, and blade pitch. And of course, we saw last week there was a teaser video for that. If you look that up, I'll try to remember to put the link in there. But yeah, it was a cool thing to see last week. Let me know your thoughts on that and whether or not you've noticed a difference under 2.7. Again, Eagle Dynamics is looking forward to the feedback. Now, as we move forward with this patch, we've also got a up to 50% sale, a discount on a large variety of products, and this is a good time to, maybe pick up a new map or a new aircraft that you haven't previously considered because of price point, because some of the modules are pretty spendy and they require a lot of work, and sometimes it can be a little bit off-putting, but don't let that detract you. And this is a good time, again, if you are worried about saving some money, now's the time to pick up a good module and enjoy the benefits of a bonus. These are what are on sale right now at 30%. We've got the P-47D Thunderbolt, the Channel Map, the Hornet, the Viper, the A-10C2 Warthog, and the Super Carrier. Lots of cool things there to consider. All of those aircraft, of course, are fantastic. The only one I don't own in that throng is the P-47D. But again, a lot of you have talked very positively about that. And of course, I love launching my F-18 from the Super Carrier, not to mention the Tomcat below this, which is 15% off right now. Some other cool maps worth considering here is the Syria map, which I think I may have mentioned before. I can't remember if I did. Maybe I didn't in my notes here. I may have skipped over it. But under clouds, I know Syria has been described as a map that is sort of CPU heavy, if you like, or has seen I don't know, how would you describe it? A little bit of a FPS drop from me. I noticed it was kind of, my computer wasn't digesting, the data very well with that particular map. So I definitely had some frame drops, but major improvement. This was part of the notes from the Changelog 2 that they have improved Ugra Media with Eagle Dynamics. They have got some major improvements to that map, and I was really impressed with how it functioned last night when I was flying around, on the night before actually. Just wanted to see how it would go based on prior experience. Good news, of course, it's 25% off now. Love that map, and I'm really looking forward to its ongoing development as the game expands. So cool thing. 20% off the JF-17 Thunder. A lot of positive comments about this. This is from Decker Ironworks off the top of my head there. I don't own this module, but a lot of people are very positive about this module. Remember, it's the sort of, this is not a very nice term, but I guess the cheaper version, if you like, of the F-16. So it's a rendition, if you like, and but it's its own beast in its own right, and it's a very, very capable aircraft, and a lot of people have, again, talked very positively about that JF-17. Now, there are, unfortunately, several other things that are not on sale right now. These are mostly campaigns, so all of those campaigns that were released earlier this year, those are not on sale. And of course, the new campaigns that were released this week are not on sale. 3 new campaigns released this week as part of this update, and unfortunately too, the Hind is not on sale. There was a pre-release discount with that particular aircraft. So that's the nuts and bolts of the newsletter this week. But of course, there are some other things that I just picked up And as mentioned, we said the 3 new campaigns. This was part of the changelog, which again is too extensive for me to go through. This is just too massive. We had the DCS Black Shark 2 Pandemic campaign by Armin Mureisen. I hope I've got that right. My apologies on the name there. And the DCS A10A Persian Freedom campaign by Ground Pounder Sims, and then the P47D Wolfpack campaign by Reflected Simulations, which of course is none other than Greg Gales, who I've chatted with from time to time. Great guy. He's done some fantastic work for the community. He's actually got quite a few campaigns, including that Zone 5 campaign, where he worked with Dave Biobaranic, the former Rio, and had an extensive career in the Navy during his long tenure there. So great campaign, and we've got some cool stuff there. Now, in addition to other things like that, there's Heatblur added, believe it or not, about 1,000 variations of speed callouts for the F-14, and including ones for BFM speed callouts. They've added new weather to all the quick start missions as well, and there are some new quick start missions in the environment as well. Excuse me, reading over my notes here. And there's 6 new airfields in Syria. They've updated the borders, and as I mentioned too, the performance improvements, facilities improvements, and airfield scenes in the Syrian map, really well done. We've added here an F11 free cam. I haven't played with this yet, but there is, like I said, a free cam under F11, and just with the standard WAS key function, so you can move that camera around. So lots of really interesting stuff. I will throw up a link to the full changelog. It's just way too extensive for me to go through, sadly, and it's over 100 things, I think, so it would take me hours to go through it, and of course not all of it is relevant to everybody. So if you're looking for a particular update on a particular aircraft, we've talked about some of these things in the past, including the improvements to the Viper and obviously the Hornet as well. And it's just a myriad of things. But what you can see visually, of course, is the clouds and that overall atmospheric look to the game, which is fantastic. And, you know, I'm not really doing it full justice here with the images that you're probably looking at. But again, let me know what you think. Do check out Juice's latest video from the Air Warfare group. We are working together on some cool stuff. He did a great video today on your visual settings. I think many of you will find it beneficial, so I encourage you to check it out. It is about a 20-minute video, I think, but he goes through each of the settings that he has fairly comprehensively. We've seen it with some other people as well who have thrown up the visual settings that they have in game, but of course now under 2.7 we've got some new things going on. But again, I got something out of it. I'm going to go back over his video and spend some time adjusting my settings to make the improvements that I think I need. I've got a glitch. If I run 60 frames right now under my settings, which I'm running, I guess 1440 is what I'm ending up recording in and trying to broadcast in, but I get a major glitch. If I go down to 30 frames, it disappears, not an issue, but then of course you don't get that same clarity. So I've got to work on that. I have some theories, but I just haven't been able to iron them out. I've gone through the shadow play settings numerous times for NVIDIA, and I haven't nailed down yet what that specific problem is. It's very frustrating when you're trying to get those really clear shots, but cinematically, of course, 30 frames per second looks not too bad. And I remember, I don't know, many of you probably will remember when The Hobbit, the first series or installment of The Hobbit was released, they were using that new high frame rate, and everybody laughed that it looked ridiculous because of the clarity. It didn't look realistic. Our eyes just couldn't cope with it. So yeah, lots of things to consider anyway with this new patch, and let me know what your thoughts are. And yeah, keep the feedback coming. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It keeps the channel chugging along. It is helping a lot. We are Juice and I are working, like I said, tentatively on a few different things, and hopefully you've seen a few clips there of some of the stuff that we're working on, flying together at least. And we are working on some other stuff that I'm really looking forward to as we build up our relationship here and the direction that we're hoping to, take with some of the things that we can do in DCS. Mainly for me, it's been fun flying with him and learning a lot, and looking at his very impressive flying skills, which are a lot better than mine at this stage. So, but that's how you learn. That's how you pull together, some friends, and you lean on the expertise of other people so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel yourself. That's how things work. So again, we'll wrap it up. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like I said, do stay safe out there and take care. Carry on flying, everybody. This is Prickly Hedgehog out. I'll leave you now with some images from the new clouds, a little music here. We'll talk to you next time. Stay safe, everybody. Prickly Hedgehog out.